Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2021 Physician's Oath and Hooding Ceremony. My name is Paul Ramsey. I serve as the Chief Executive Officer of UW Medicine and Dean of the School of Medicine. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the school, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this afternoon's ceremony. Today's ceremony is the second virtual Physician's Oath and Hooding ceremony in our school's history. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many aspects of the world have changed over the past 18 months. Much as we would like to celebrate together in person, as you know, this is not possible. Not being together in person, however, does not diminish the significance of what today's graduates have accomplished and the bright futures in front of them. This is the 72nd class to receive the degree of Doctor of Medicine from the University of Washington. We take great pride in the individual and collective achievements of this class, and we are very pleased that you can join us virtually today to acknowledge their accomplishments. We also recognize that most of these graduates would not be here without the support and encouragement they receive from their loved ones, many of whom are joining in today. I would like to acknowledge the important contributions that you, parents, grandparents, spouses, children, siblings, other relatives, and special friends have made to the success of these graduates. In a very real sense, this day is for you as much as it is for our graduates. I know the faculty appreciate your ongoing support. I ask the graduates to join me in acknowledging your vital contributions, whether through an in-person thank you by email, a note, or a virtual message. You have made an enormous difference. Today is a very special day for our graduates who will go on to make important contributions in medicine as practicing physicians, teachers, and medical researchers. The mission of UW Medicine is to improve the health of the public, and we are very fortunate to have such an outstanding group of individuals entering the world of medicine. Clinical medicine is changing daily, never more than in 2021 in a global pandemic when health is on everyone's mind. Look how far medicine has brought us in a short period of time. The development of highly effective vaccines and the administration of those vaccines are the direct responsibility and result of the medical profession, our scientists, physicians, and other health professionals. This is one very important indication that your roles as future physicians have never been more important as they are now. Many are talking about a, quote, new normal, as we continue to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Healthcare has already changed over the last 18 months. We have, for example, moved rapidly toward the use of telemedicine, and remote technologies have also been effectively utilized in medical education. I expect more substantial changes over the next few years. I also expect that the 2021 UW School of Medicine graduating class will lead many of the innovations that will define healthcare. Thank you for your commitment, your passion, and your hope as we work together to improve the health of all people. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Ben Danielson. Dr. Danielson is a clinical professor of pediatrics at the University of Washington. He completed his undergraduate studies at Harvard University before earning his medical degree here at the University of Washington and completing his pediatric residency at Seattle Children's Hospital. He was the senior medical director for the Odessa Brown Children's Clinic until late 2020. He worked there for over 20 years, combining patient care, clinical leadership, and community advocacy. Dr. Danielson serves on the boards of a number of health-related organizations, philanthropic organizations, and community groups dedicated to anti-racism, equity, and health issues. He attributes his passion for education and community to his single mom who raised him and his sisters after he spent time in the foster care system. Throughout his career, Dr. Danielson has sought to promote well-being and dignity, especially for marginalized communities, and has found opportunities within and outside of systems to partner with groups and individuals who are passionate about creating a better world. He is inspired every day by the children, families, communities, and organizations with whom he interacts. We are privileged to have Dr. Danielson speak to us today. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ben Danielson.
I'm so deeply honored to be invited to offer an address today on this wonderful occasion that marks a really important and remarkable point in a continuing journey for all of you. I hope it feels okay to take a moment to pause and breathe and allow yourself to just feel good. For a moment, set aside the weight you bear. Set it down, some of it at least, and allow all the good that this moment represents for you to just flow through you. It can be a little hard to allow ourselves to hold feelings of accomplishment. It can be difficult, especially these days, to be gracious with ourselves, to give ourselves permission, to offer ourselves the gift, the grace to just pause and take a breath and feel good about things. You've made it to a significant point in your journey today. These moments are important, not only for patting ourselves on the back, although let's be clear, you have put a mountain of hard work into getting here. These moments are important inflections for personal reflection. In a balanced way, appreciation and circumspection. I think it's plausible to hold that warm kind of feeling and also know that a world of other feelings are also happening simultaneously. I'm sort of a fan of simultaneous complexity these days, of things, even joy and trauma, overlapping in the same moments. Things that seem pretty polar, existing sort of harmoniously, complex simultaneity, a sense of well-earned accomplishment, and sometimes other feelings that may add a context. Possibly the complex feelings, the contrasting feelings, maybe they need to coexist simultaneously with each other. Maybe that's what makes it especially okay, especially important for all of us marking this day to pause and fully embrace a sense of satisfaction. Because all of those feelings will still swirl in their complex fractals around us at the same time. A feeling of satisfaction side by side with a feeling of, I don't know, maybe unworthiness sometimes. That whispering voice of imposter syndrome, finding ways to seep into so many circumstances. Well, at least in my own experience, imposter syndrome or whatever other unwelcome spirit resides on your shoulders will not likely be suddenly expunged. These are fairly persistent passengers, but the existence of that unwelcome spirit, that constant visitor, makes it all the more important to see and know and love yourself today. Makes it all the more valuable a ritual to pause and to breathe, to grant the grace to yourselves to celebrate yourselves today. Intentionally granting yourself this space, taking it in, is important for the radiant souls that you are. You are people of conscience, of strong ethical grounding, of purpose, dedicating yourselves to a particular kind of service to the communities around you. You are the emergent tomorrow of healthcare. You are the morning, the first rays of light on the future of our healthcare system. It will be determined by the ways you step into the world. You are the morning's light. So today is particularly important. Not so much in my view for any symbolic indoctrination, not so much in my view for the recital of specific words passed along through so many voices over so many generations of physicians. Don't get me wrong. I do think there's something powerful about oral traditions, about using our voices to put ideas, promises, remembrances, and commitments out into the universe. I do think there is a special power for a family member, a loved one, a colleague, and even for yourself to hear your own voice articulate a commitment. Hearing your own voice. It's a special moment, in my view, for how you, in your heart, interpret those words that you say, the promise you make to yourself, how you choose to move in the world above and beyond the particular words themselves that you recite. It's such a true honor to be present today with you. You've been wonderful folk from well before you entered this school. We aren't celebrating that a school has somehow made you. We pause to celebrate you for who you've always been. Yet, as I said, I would guess that for some of you, pausing to enjoy this moment can carry simultaneous complexity. Maybe the complexity that so many hard things have happened along the way. Struggles that have been outrageous, that you never should have had to endure. Struggles that are unjust, unjustifiable, and fatiguing. Outrageous struggles that might have made you feel that no moment of self-satisfaction would ever shine on your faces would be allowed to enter your fortress. Because the most difficult struggles have made it necessary to erect ramparts and create fortifications in order to get through the days for you. Yet this is an occasion when those of us who admire you so greatly must remind you about something. And I'm just going to pretend that it's my place to do so. It's funny, this train of thought also reminds me about something. Growing up in Washington, D.C., I had a street mom, a woman around the way that people called Big Mama Pearl. In her grumpy way, she took me under her wing, taught me about Black community, taught me about being a Black person growing up in this American society. I think she also enjoyed just floating inscrutable wisdom my way just to see me confused. She used to have these one-liners or 10-second allegories that I usually couldn't figure out. One day I came walking up the street and she was in her usual spot on her stoop, watching the world go by as if it was on parade just for her. All I did was walk up. I was going to say my usual greeting. Hello, Big Mama Pearl. Is the day treating you right? If you said the right polite thing, it could sometimes lead to a cookie or maybe a slice of pecan pie or something like that. But this time, I didn't get a chance to say anything. I was just opening my mouth to speak when she shook her finger at me and she said something like, "Boy, you reminded me about things you got no business reminding me about." Then she got up, went inside and slammed the door. I have no idea to this day what many of her 10-second allegories or her cryptic one-liners meant. But I still appreciate the ways she took the time that I thought was worth the time to share something with me. Sometimes it really does matter more that someone cares enough to want to share something with you than it matters what they actually share, which is basically just my justification for my own unworthy words today. Maybe there's a Big Mama Pearl in your life, or 10 Big Mama Pearls with different names and in different relationships to you. So I'm gonna, in honor of Big Mama Pearls everywhere, I'm gonna go ahead and remind you of things you don't need any reminding about. I must remind you, as one of so many people that admire you so much, I must remind you that you are not defined by your struggles. You are so much more than that. You're not defined by your struggles. You learn from them about yourself and others. You grow from them, but you are not defined by them. So your struggles, the ones that cause you to build your fortifications, cannot exist alone in this moment, not today. Those outrageous experiences cannot suppress your joy, not today. They should enrich your sense of accomplishment and give you a greater cause for a peaceful pause, afford you deeper breaths, deeper reasons to inspire, a more peaceful pause, an earned reason to relax the corrugator supercilii. Corrugator supercilii, one of my favorite muscle names, by the way. Like I said, I'm reminding you about things I don't need to remind you about, because these are all lessons that you've taught me these past years. You've been guides, teachers, mentors to me, and I'm so glad to have been invited here so that I can lift up my voice and express my thanks to you, so that the people who care about you can hear me lift up my voice and say thank you for being my teachers, for the things you've helped me unlearn, as well as the things you've helped me learn. You've taught me a lot about simultaneous complexity, how we can understand that we're walking through a world that does not live up to its values, and yet still you teach me to expect something better, to expect a better world, to demand a better world, even as inhumanity, inhumane priorities and practices reveal themselves around us all so often. You've been teaching me to do my own work, to step intentionally and painfully into a time of my own reckoning, to step in full volition with audacity into a time of reckoning, a self-reckoning that calls for full reflection, doesn't allow me to claim a pass regarding my own complicity, as well as an outward reckoning that says as loudly as possible that we expect a better world. We demand a better world. We demand more of our institutions, our systems, of each other. We're ready to roll up our sleeves, strain our sinew, sacrifice and commit anew because we expect a better world. And we know, you've been teaching me that a better world is not a predestined destination. The universe just doesn't arc towards justice while we ride along as passive passengers. You teach me that we all must exert our own kinetic energy to propel us together towards a better world. You teach me that those kinetics, those efforts we must exert cannot be sourced in hubris or saviorism. Savior complexes and hierarchy have done too much damage in our field. We work alongside many others. In the healthcare setting and in our communities, we toil among many others who are themselves brilliant and talented in so many beautiful ways, a diverse constellation of brilliance that makes us as a whole better than our individual talents. The true value of our work is not as some suddenly skilled set of individual technicians, nor as caped crusaders. Our work is collective work. It is steeped in the practice of promoting dignity and respect for others. It's sustained by statements that begin with the word we, not with proclamations that center individualism. Our work is collective work. It will never be reached by a voice or even a multitude of voices that are saying, I did it all by myself. None of us truly accomplishes big things on our own. There's a big mama pearl out there somewhere, known to you or maybe unknown to you. You've worked hard to get here, make no doubt, but you haven't come this far alone. Our work is collective work, and that is the only way to expect a better world. Anti-racism, equity, justice, wellness, these are journeys of the many, not treks for the few. You've taught me so much that I find myself worried when I was invited to speak today. I wondered if I had anything really to offer. But I guess I do have a few things to share, worthy or not. And I suppose they all decant down to one theme. This world really, really needs you. Your fullest, most unfettered selves, which is why I exhort you, I plead with you not to discount your power. Regardless of where you are on the journey, there'll be plenty of people along the way who will try to convince you that you have no power. Don't let your own voice be one of them. I believe that the only way to truly become powerless is to say so to yourself. You have substantive power. You have tectonically disruptive collective power, just the kind of ingredient necessary to make a better world. People will endeavor to suppress your power, which only proves that it's there. People will say things to you like, if you speak up now, if you act now, if you make waves now, it could affect your future career. Please see that kind of fear-based statement for what it really is and reject it outright. People will say things to you like, this is just the way things are done. It's useless to question it. Please know that this will likely be said at the most important and potent time to be questioning it. And that their fear that you will question it, your power to question it, your power of curiosity, is the very power they are hoping to subvert. People will talk about the importance of staying in your lane when we're constantly reminded how much more our work is like a neural network than a parallel set of ruts. The only thing preventing your transformational power from being known is the extent to which you can be convinced to voluntarily keep it in the rut. Do not discount your power. Your power in every moment and every stage of your profession. This is really no place for waiting for some future station or title that will somehow justify choosing to let an injustice pass today. It is always the right time to do the right thing. Even if some vision of greater influence in the future seems to be dancing on your horizon, please know that it will continue to dance on that horizon, remaining just as far away, even as you work to move toward it. Do not discount your power. When someone notices your talents, your gifts, your brilliance, don't negate it. Don't let that imposter syndrome, ill spirit hold sway. That is a fast path to discounting your power. It is always the right time to do the right thing. When you find yourself waiting, hoping someone else will do something to address an injustice, please realize that you are reclining in self-imposed disempowerment, right when folks need you the most. You demand a better world. You'd expect a better world. You teach me that this is collective work. Stand in your power. Share your power. Making sure that you share it will be the best way not to diminish it. Acknowledge that when you share power, it is non-infinite and it is expanding in nature. Recognize the power of sharing power and seeing the power that others around you hold. This world really, really needs you. And I look forward to standing beside you, continuing to learn from you, together lending our intentional kinetics to a shared journey of reckoning, of reparation, of healing, of impatient expectation, of humaneness, of justice. On this marking of tomorrow's healthcare's first light, I look forward to the collective ways you will help to brighten the world. You will become better futures for so many who have been oppressed for so long. You will act not as saviors, but as partners in collective work. I look forward to seeing you practicing equity, joining you in that practice, knowing that communities most affected by injustice have all the best answers to that injustice. I look forward to practicing equity with you, sharing the joy of knowing an abundance of beloved communities, communities seen for their brilliance, not for their deficits. I look forward to continuing to walk with you, seeing you continue to grow, to teach, and learn. I look forward to all of it and its simultaneous complexity, joy, and struggle. I look forward to all of it and the ways you'll continue to remind me of the things I shouldn't need reminding of. I look forward to all of it because we are on this journey. We are doing this collective work together. I look forward to continuing to walk with you toward a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Danielson, for your wonderful words for our graduates. If we were together in person, the members of the graduating class would now be presented and invested with their doctoral hoods. In light of our virtual ceremony, we will instead name and acknowledge each graduate. This portion of the ceremony will be conducted by Dr. Suzanne Allen, Vice Dean for Academic, Rural, and Regional Affairs.
Today, we formally acknowledge the achievements of another class of medical students, the 72nd class to become graduates of the University of Washington School of Medicine. We will acknowledge the students in alphabetical order according to the WWAMI site where the students completed their preclinical training. Assisting me today will be the deans who have administered the academic program of the graduates. Announcing the Washington WWAMI Seattle students are Dr. Ray Maestas, Associate Dean for Student Affairs, and Dr. Molly Jackson, Assistant Dean for the colleges.
Dr. Rigo Acevedo, Dr. Enoch AJ,
Dr. Stuart Allen, Dr. Christopher Arakawa, Dr. Ari Azani, Dr. Raman Baimani Nejad, Dr. Colin Bartz Overman,
Dr. Jacob Bowden, Dr. Haley Ganesh, Dr. Alice Kai, Dr. David Caldwell, Dr. Joan Chen,
Dr. Kenneth Chen, Dr. Karen Ho Chung, Dr. Kevin Chung, Dr. Wendy Cord, Dr. Bailey Curver, Dr. Molly Cole, Dr. Liliana Cousins, Dr. Nagan May Doe, Dr. Seda Akaji, Dr. Carlos Enciso Lopez,
Dr. Fazan Essagi, Dr. Elizabeth Esselman, Dr. Ryan Fang,
Dr. Madeline Geisiker,
Dr. Davin Gong, Dr. Shauna Greenleaf, Dr. Michael Gross, Dr. Thomas Hafner, Dr. Jonathan Hanish, Dr. Jacqueline Hedge, Dr. Alyssa Hummel, Dr. Lisa Heisa, Dr. Lily Zhang, Dr. Robert Johnson, Dr. Mercy Joyce, Dr. Apollo Kabukuru,
Dr. Leah Carlson, Dr. Rini Cassie Nathan,
Dr. Kevin Koo, Dr. Ian Kim, Dr. Jiyoung Kim, Dr. Catherine Kempel, Dr. Joe Kirsch, Dr. Brian Coe, Dr. Rachel LaFontaine, Dr. John Lazar,
Dr. Adrian Lazarevich Fogelquist,
Dr. John Leatherman,
Dr. Daniel Lee, Dr. Molly Levine, Dr. Tenny Liang, Dr. Christine Liu, Dr. Ashley Lines, Dr. Paula Marsland, Dr. Nicole Matson, Dr. Shannon McCarty, Dr. Sarah Niyusha Mirasani, Dr. Christopher Moore, Dr. Stan Moore, Dr. Yasmin Moshiri, Dr. Lindsay Moss, Dr. Emily Muller, Dr. Nicole Naiman, Dr. Belle No, Dr. Sophie Padelford, Dr. Michelle Parks, Dr. Jasmine Perez, Dr. Candace Pollard, Dr. Mark Raghav,
Dr. Jasmine Raw, Dr. Jesse Resnick, Dr. Rebecca Resnick, Dr. Alexander Salter, Dr. Amanda Sekajima, Dr. Kylia Shanklin, Dr. Roya Sharifian,
Dr. Jody Scharninghausen,
Dr. Anna Smith,
Dr. Bryn Smith, Dr. Zachary Smith,
Dr. Mary Allison Smithers, Dr. Beth Soba, Dr. Greta Stever, Dr. Cass Sunga, Dr. Trevor Takami, Dr. Connie Tang,
Dr. Panit Dut, Dr. Kaiser Valshan, Dr. Elena Vinopal, Dr. Kara Wages,
Dr. Nikolai Wallace, Dr. Andy Nguyen, Dr. Ashley Williams, Dr. Melissa Wong, Dr. Marissa Woodfield, Dr. Derek Yee, Dr. Jonathan Yee,
Dr. Ermias Johannes, Dr. Xian Yang, Dr. Mary Zuniga, Dr. Lena Zurek.
Announcing the Washington WWAMI Spokane students are Dr. Bill Sayers, Assistant Foundations Dean for Spokane, and Dr. Judy Swanson, Assistant Clinical Dean for Spokane.
Dr. Drew Anderson, Dr. Alicia Burns,
Dr. Sonia Lychin, Dr. Ethan Coffey, Dr. Emily Cooper, Dr. Mitchell Dumais, Dr. Robert Eagle, Dr. Sam Eglin, Dr. Kyle Ellingson, Dr. Stephen Ferraro, Dr. Demi Galindo, Dr. Cody Gibbons, Dr. James Gillespie,
Dr. Jacqueline Gorzinski,
Dr. Hadley Gunnell, Dr. Blake Henley, Dr. Kellyanne Hennessy, Dr. Caleb Hood, Dr. Kelly Horsley, Dr. Alexa Jager,
Dr. Heather Johns, Dr. Luke Johnson, Dr. Sarah Noft, Dr. John Kanthara, Dr. Hannah Lampert, Dr. Peter Leffler, Dr. Ryan Lucas, Dr. Christine Madsen, Dr. Nathan Maris, Dr. Samantha May,
Dr. Jocelyn McCormick, Dr. Sam Malor, Dr. Aaron Melvin Boland, Dr. Heather Molbeck,
Dr. Shaheen Mortasavi,
Dr. Rami Nimri, Dr. Kaylee Park, Dr. Christopher Phillips, Dr. Derek Prince, Dr. Sarah Prince,
Dr. Eric Risa, Dr. Courtney Roberts, Dr. Masood Salecki, Dr. Vera Schulte, Dr. Mark Skura,
Dr. Taylor Sakazaki,
Dr. Homa Sharboff, Dr. Rebecca Shar, Dr. Lane Shish, Dr. Noah Smith, Dr. Aaron Stewart, Dr. Jordan Takasugi, Dr. Benjamin Titus, Dr. Sharon Uder,
Dr. Brooke Wakeman, Dr. J.J. Wampak, Dr. Jess Wetter,
Dr. Marisa Wickerath, Dr. Matthew Widdowson, Dr. Haley Young, Dr. Emma Zavala Suarez,
Dr. Bang Zheng,
Announcing the Wyoming WWAMI students are Dr. Tim Robinson, Assistant Foundation Dean for Wyoming, and Dr. Rob Monger, Assistant Clinical Dean for Wyoming.
Dr. Lingga Adidharma, Dr. Madeline Birch, Dr. Dylan Brown, Dr. Tappy Gish, Dr. Heidi Honekamp, Dr. Cody Hansen, Dr. Joshua Henry, Dr. Austin Lever, Dr. Sarah Mays, Dr. Trevor Mordhorst, Dr. Spencer Pekka, Dr. Jordan Reed, Dr. Aaron Robertson, Dr. Michael Robison, Dr. Olivia Rogers, Dr. Shandor Saltz, Dr. Jackson Schmidt, Dr. Ethan Slight, Dr. Mason Stillman, Dr. Kelsey Tuttle, Dr. Sabrina Wilcox.
Announcing the Alaska WWAMI students are Dr. Kathy Young, Assistant Foundations Dean for Alaska, and Dr. Barb Doty, Assistant Clinical Dean for Alaska.
Dr. Corey Ambrose, Dr. Kate Backstrom, Dr. Wade Banta, Dr. Jill Carlisle, Dr. Rachel Karakaburu, Dr. Sean Costello, Dr. Emily Fitzgerald, Dr. Don Hayring,
Dr. Nikki Jordan, Dr. Anastasia Hodjanova, Dr. Samantha Lawson, Dr. Adrian Lena, Dr. Neil Leota, Dr. Michael Middleton, Dr. Daniel Quinlan, Dr. Connor Rogan, Dr. Jeremy Sobosinski, Dr. Ty Titchen,
Dr. Sebastian Espinoza Welling,
Dr. Alyssa Wells, Dr. Eric Wortman.
Announcing the Montana WWAMI students are Dr. Martin Teinsa, Assistant Foundations Dean for Montana, and Dr. Jay Erickson, Assistant Clinical Dean for Montana.
Dr. Miranda Bradley, Dr. Alexander Carlson, Dr. Killian Cuniff, Dr. Kelsey Delaney, Dr. Jenny Eller,
Dr. Paul Engstrom,
Dr. Kara Francis, Dr. Melanie Grant, Dr. Marina Hansen, Dr. Michelle Hebert, Dr. Jalen Huff, Dr. Tyler Jacobson, Dr. Catherine Kent, Dr. Alex Kurtz, Dr. Dylan LeBlanc,
Dr. Haley Love, Dr. Justin McDonald, Dr. Ian McCracken, Dr. Justin Morgan, Dr. Tanner Mugley, Dr. Vanessa Richardson, Dr. Darcy Robbins, Dr. Ezekiel Sharples, Dr. Laura Scheffelbein, Dr. Matthew Snow, Dr. Samantha Wagner, Dr. Adam Whiteley, Dr. Kara Zhou, Dr. Tessa Zolnikov.
Announcing the Idaho WWAMI students are Dr. Jeff Sigmiller, Assistant Foundations Dean for Idaho, Dr. Mary Baranaga, Assistant Clinical Dean for Idaho, and Dr. Frank Batcha, Assistant Clinical Dean for Idaho.
Dr. John Bartoletta, Dr. Dominique Billingsley, Dr. John Calhoun, Dr. Corin Camp. Dr. Cesar Cardenas.
Dr. Caitlin Casper. Dr. Ryan Day. Dr. Emily Dickerson. Dr. Sarah Doe Williams. Dr. Andrew Dysart. Dr. Marie Finkbeiner. Dr. Charlie Forsyth. Dr. Jamie Garrett. Dr. Casey Glenn. Dr. Jerry Hagler. Dr. Ethan Hansen. Dr. Josh Haskett. Dr. Jordan Huttish. Dr. Adia Jafari.
Dr. Kevin Jurgensmeyer. Dr. Annika Kohlmeyer. Dr. Marianne Myers.
Dr. Aubrey Montebello.
Dr. Tanner Nash. Dr. Andrew Nelson. Dr. Jacob Pascoe. Dr. James Peterson. Dr. Kelsey Richardson. Dr. Jake Ron. Dr. Moon Ryu. Dr. Megan Schwer. Dr. Samuel Showalter.
Dr. Garrett Strizich. Dr. Alexandra Stile.
Dr. Madeline Supinger.
Dr. John Taffin. Dr. Anna Thompson. Dr. Nick Thompson. Dr. Bill Thurston. Dr. Ryan Wallace. Dr. Laura Wheeling. Dr. Taylor Wilkinson.
Everyone, please join me in congratulating the graduating class of 2021.
The final part of today's ceremony will be the administration of the physician's oath to the graduates. The recitation of the physician's oath is a tradition in the Western medical world. The pledge recognizes our debt to our ancestors and our commitment to ethical and moral behaviors, both as individuals and as a professional community. The UW Physician's Oath was derived from the Declaration of Geneva, the contemporary successor to the Hippocratic Oath, which originated in Greece over 2,000 years ago as an early expression of physicians' commitment to medical ethics. The oath serves to remind us of the high standards of performance and behavior to which each of you aspires as you enter your professional career as a physician, and to which your teachers and mentors also aspire. Will the graduates please join me in reciting the oath? As a member of the medical profession,
As a member of the medical profession.
As a member
Of the medical profession.
the medical profession.
Of the medical profession.
As a member of the medical profession.
As a member of the medical profession,
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity.
I solemnly pledge
to dedicate my life
To the service of humanity.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life
to the service of humanity.
The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration.
The health and well-being of my patient.
My patient.
My patient.
My patient
will be my first consideration.
My first consideration.
The health and well-being
Of my patient
will be my first consideration.
The health and well-being of my patient
will be my first consideration.
I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient.
I will respect.
I will respect.
I will respect the autonomy
and dignity of my patient.
I will respect the autonomy.
The autonomy and dignity.
The autonomy
and dignity of my patient.
I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life.
I will maintain the utmost respect.
The utmost respect
for human life.
I will maintain
the utmost respect
for human life.
For human life.
I will not permit considerations of age.
I will not permit considerations of
age,
disease or disability,
disease or disability,
disease or disability,
disease or disability,
creed,
ethnic origin,
ethnic origin,
gender,
nationality,
political affiliation,
political affiliation,
race,
sexual orientation,
social standing,
or any other factor,
to intervene between my duty and my patient.
I will respect and hold in confidence the experiences and stories of my patients.
I will respect and hold in confidence
the experiences and stories
of my patients.
I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity in accordance with good medical practice.
I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity,
and in accordance
with good medical practice.
I will foster the honorable traditions of the medical profession.
I will foster the honorable traditions.
I will foster the honorable traditions.
Foster the honorable traditions of the medical profession.
Of the medical profession.
While approaching my responsibility
with humility
and awareness of my limitations.
While approaching my responsibility with humility and awareness of my limitations, I will give my teachers and colleagues and students the respect and gratitude that is their due.
I will give to my teachers,
colleagues, and students.
I will give to my teachers,
colleagues, and students
the respect and gratitude
that is their due.
I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of my patient and the advancement of healthcare.
I will share my medical knowledge
for the benefit of my patient,
for the benefit of my patients,
in the advancement of healthcare.
I will tend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard.
I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities.
I will attend to my own health, well-being.
I will tend to my own health,
well-being,
and abilities in order to provide
care of the highest standard.
I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of my patient and the advancement of healthcare.
I will not use my medical knowledge.
I will not use my medical knowledge.
I will not use my medical knowledge
to violate human rights and civil liberties.
To violate human rights and civil liberties.
I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
I make these promises
solemnly,
freely. I make these promises solemnly,
freely, and upon my honor.
Graduates, welcome to the medical profession. I now have the pleasure and the honor to address you as members of the profession. On behalf of my colleagues and myself, congratulations. I am confident of your success and know that you will bring credit to the University of Washington School of Medicine. I look forward to hearing about your professional accomplishments as you advance our mission to improve health for all people.